Elsie Kerns here, Wellness with Elsie. And I wanted to share something personal with you today. For much of my life, I struggled with anxiety. And earlier in my life, I didn't have a name for it. I didn't realize this was a common problem. I thought I was all alone with these feelings of fear and doubt, overwhelm, and exhaustion. But my life changed when I studied holistic healing, and I found some real strategies to help me cope with my anxiety that were very successful. So today, I would like to share one of those strategies with you, the TT Tap. And I put together a really nice slideshow that you can go back and review. Then at the end of the slideshow, I'm going to come back on and we're actually going to do the tapping together to make sure you clearly understand how to do it. Okay, so let me bring up that slideshow for you. And here we go. So one of the things I want to point out is that the TT Tap is a self-care practice, and it's easy, it's efficient, it's available 24/7. So that's what makes it so practical for you in your life. So all of us experience stress in the form of anxiety or overwhelm, certainly frustration today, fear, fatigue, confusion, and depression. And in this particular time in our life, with what is going on worldwide, that we have access to that information also 24/7 is both anxiety raising and a little hairy. But all of this creates one thing in our life, and that is burnout. We have this little kitty showing us just how exhausted we can get. I'm encouraging you, do not panic, because the TT Temporal Tap offers, as I said earlier, a holistic option that's easy, it's effective, it's time efficient. You're doing it when you can work it into your day. It's affordable and it's available to you 24/7. So one of the questions that we always want to know is, well, why does this particular strategy work? And there's two things that can help to bypass that flight, fight, freeze alarm bell. Remember, that was designed for us as primitive man, and it enabled us to live to where we are today. However, it saved primitive man and it has saved us, but now it's going off all the time and it's killing us. So the two things that will bypass this constant loop is tapping and rocking. And that is because primitive man rocked and tapped his body. So that fight, flight, freeze alarm doesn't go off when you use the TT Tap. Now, when we look at this left and right brain piece, what we know to be pretty standard and true is that statements with negative wording tapped on the left side of the brain, which tends to be our linear side, critical, skeptical, are easily assimilated. Statements made with positive wording tapped on the right side of the brain are highly receptive. And there is one exception here. Left-handed individuals might want to try reversing the tapping sides to determine what feels best and what works best for them. So here we have a visual, because in using the TT Tap, we are actually going to start at our temple. We are going to be tapping, and we are going to be tapping strong all the way around to the end of the ear. Not only are we going to be tapping strong, but I'm encouraging you to use your voice out loud and your intentional sentences on the left and the right sides. And I'm suggesting that you say your sentences out loud because I want you to hear your voice as the voice of authority. Now, there's some more helpful taps before we begin that will help this be successful. So you want to take a body check first. And to use the scale from 1 to 10, determine where your situation, your pain, your emotion is on the scale. And no judgment, just a quick personal assessment. Write down that number before you begin. After completing the temporal tap sequence, check on where the number is now on that scale from 1 to 10. And you can do this several times until that number comes down to a more comfortable level. So no matter what situation you're dealing with, I'm encouraging you to set intention to come from a heart-centered space for yourself. There is no greater healing than the heart. So let's look at the procedure, and we're actually going to practice this after the PowerPoint presentation. You're going to identify a habit or an attitude, a health condition that you want to change. You're going to create short, concise sentences in your own words for the right and left brain, and write them down first. You want to be sure and clear that your statements do not contradict a core value or basic need. Again, I encourage you to say your statements out loud as you tap to hear your voice of authority. You're going to begin tapping that sentence on the left side first and repeat for 5 to 9 times. And then you're going to move to the right side and tap out loud your sentence 5 to 9 times. You'll need to do this 4 to 5 times a day for 30 days in a row to change that belief system, that habit, to make a new beginning, a new belief system in your brain. You also, as you tap, you want to focus your attention on the words and the meaning and feel that desire to change. The more you tap, the stronger the effect on your nervous system, and the faster you change and heal your habit or that self-limiting belief. So I want to try a couple of examples, easy examples with you. So let's try this. On the left side, we're going to say, I no longer get stressed under pressure. And we're starting at the temple. We're tapping, tap with me, you're tapping so you can actually feel it around to the end of the ear. I no longer get stressed under pressure. I no longer get stressed under pressure. Now, on the right side, the sentence I selected is simply, I am calm and centered under pressure. So on the right side, again, we're beginning at the temple. We're tapping strongly. We're going all the way around to the end of the ear. I am calm and centered under pressure now. I am calm and centered under pressure now. One more time, I am calm and centered under pressure now. Here's another example. I no longer eat from anxiety, fear, compulsion. On the left side, I no longer eat from anxiety, fear, compulsion. On the left side, one more time, I no longer eat from anxiety, fear, compulsion. On the right side, I am eating for health, fitness, and enjoy my food. On the right side again, I'm eating for health, fitness, and enjoy my food. Again, I am eating for health, fitness, and enjoy my food. So you'll notice that even when we're using that negative wording on the left side, it's still in a positive mode. I no longer, or I don't get stressed, or I won't get stressed, or I no longer don't eat from anxiety, fear, compulsion. So what happens in the brain, that sympathetic nervous system, that flight, fight, freeze alarm bell, doesn't perceive tapping as a threat. Therefore, your brain is now receptive to change, that unhealthy habit or belief system. Your intention, perseverance, and repetition create the opportunity to change the brain. Change your brain and change your life. And I would mention here that Dr. Daniel Amen has actually written a book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, and done some incredible, significant research and work with how we can change belief systems. So this is an invitation to begin this today. Now, we talked about setting intention. So I thought I would actually give you not only a way to set intention, but a way to hire the universe. So with me together, step out with your right foot and right hand, the action side of your body. Reach out to the universe and state, I set intention to release the unhealthy habits and belief systems that have been holding me back from living life in joy and freedom. I'm hiring you, great vast universe, the seed of all possibilities, as my personal TT temporal tap coach to keep me on track. I thank you in advance for your helping me with my success, and I'm now receiving the inspiring energy of the universe to help me transform. So I encourage you to actually do this. Look out the window, set intention, hire the universe as a free consultant to help you move through the next piece so you can step forward in your life. The TT temporal tap, by the way, as we said in the beginning, is a self-care, self-empowering practice that is holistic, healthy, successful, affordable, and available to you 24/7. So here's information also about how you can get in touch with me for an individual consultation or find out through a discovery session if you'd like to work with me on a 3-month Chaos to Clarity coaching program, or sign up for my newsletter so you can be updated on online webinars and teleseminars that we'll be doing through the winter. Okay. So just turn that screen share off and I'm back. So you will have the PowerPoint that we did to review, but I want to go over this with you personally as well. So once again, that fight, flight, freeze mechanism in us saved humanity up till now, but it's at a place where, based on the pace of life and the stress, it's really killing us because it's going off all the time, or it's even caught in on mode continuously. So what we're doing is we are selecting sentences for the left and the right side of the brain, and we're working with a belief system or a habit, a phobia, a fear, whatever it is that we want to change. In order to do that, we're using tapping because, as I explained, tapping is one thing that can bypass that fight or flight alarm bell. Now, tapping has been very successful with programs such as EFT, and that has been used a great deal with men returning from the service and from Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. So we're using it today, and we're just isolating an area from the temple to the end of the ear on each side. But the reason that we are doing that is because this is connected, that fight, flight, freeze, to a meridian in our body. And a meridian is like an electrical line of light. Meridians are used in acupuncture to help us connect with those that need assistance. So if we were to run that meridian backwards to calm it down, we would start right at the outside of the temple. We would go over the ear, down the neck, down the arm, over the elbow, and we would come and pull off the ring finger. But instead of doing all of that, we're just using the beginning areas from the temple to the end of the ear, and that begins to calm fight or flight down. The more that we can calm it down, assure it that we're safe, and use those words that resonate with us, and make sure you write them down. If you create a good, short, concise sentence, that dragon, that voice of inner judgment, might just jump up there and make you forget it. So let's look at this again, and we'll use some of the examples that are there on the slideshow. And so we're going to start on the left side, and we're going to start right at the temple here. And we're going to tap strong. I no longer get stressed under pressure. I no longer get stressed under pressure. I no longer get stressed under pressure. Then on the right side, we're going to use the other sentence. And we said, I am calm and centered under pressure. I am calm and centered under pressure. I am calm and centered under pressure. Now, in order for this to be successful, we need to do it 3 to 5 times a day. We need to really be active with it. We may need to change the sentences as we progress. And we absolutely need to trust in the process. But just like that Nike slogan, we need to just do it. Every way that we can calm down that fight or flight gives a better opportunity for success, for the brain to change that fear belief system, to help us feel safer, more secure, more confident. This has been very successful for me. And what I loved about it was that it was available 24/7. Now, I had a great story from one of my young clients, and she had actually, with her husband, watched the final Flyers game and watched them win, the Super Bowl there of the hockey world. And she said at the end of the night, when she finally got into bed, she fell asleep. shortly after, but then awoke in a panic. She realized that she was having a panic attack. She thought at first her husband might have to take her to the emergency room, but she said, "Let me go out and try the tapping." So she went out into the living room and she began tapping as hard as she could on the left side and then the right side. She already knew that her level between 1 and 10 on the scale was already at 90, way over the 10. So she kept noticing and writing down after each session of tapping what the number was. And she said slowly but surely, she began in about 15 minutes to feel a lot calmer. And she realized that she was out of panic mode. She was still in stress mode, but she kept tapping for another 5 or 10 minutes and found that she could go back to bed and sleep for the rest of the night. This was such a victory for her because normally she said, I would wind up in the ER and I would feel shame and frustration and upsetment. So this is just one testimonial from a gal that I've worked with, but there are many others. And the best part about this is you don't have to understand the entire meridian system. You don't have to do all the tapping that's involved in some of the other tapping modalities, such as EFT, etc. You are simply targeting that one meridian that takes off and carries us away with anxiety. So, once again, you're going to begin on the left side. You're going to really tap hard all the way around. I no longer, or I don't need. You're going to put that positive sentence around on the right side several times. I am calm and centered. You're going to check on your scale from 1 to 10. How do I feel about this situation right now? Is it a 10 or a 9 or an 8? You're going to just write that number down, do your tapping, and then check in with your body again. What does that number feel like now? So we can go over and go back and, tap the remaining stress away. Bring in calm and centered. So probably the most difficult piece of all of this is really deciding on the sentences that you want to use for tapping on the left and the right side. And what's important, as I said, is to create the sentence that doesn't go against any of your core beliefs. Try to keep it short and simple. That makes it easier and faster because you really need to do this on a daily practice. We know that it takes at least 28 days to really change a belief system, a habit, whatever it is. But it's good to know that you have this to use every day and to start to bring more joy and freedom into your life. This is Elsie Kerns, and I really enjoyed sharing this webinar with you and this time. If there's any way that you feel I can help you further, feel free to contact me. I'd love to take an opportunity to work with you in person or on the phone or via Zoom. We live in that interconnected world. So no matter where you are in your stress level, consider using the TT temporal tap. It is compatible and integrative with anything else you need to do regarding medication or therapy. but it can help you change the energy and therefore change your brain. So take care. Let me know how this worked for you.